Alright, this is John Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for, and what we're going to do today is announce that DiscountJuicers.com is now offering the Pure Juicer. This is a true cold press two-stage juicer, and it's the first two-stage all-in-one juicer that we had ever offered at Discount Juicers. And the main reason for that is because this is simply the best two-stage cold press juicer on the market, hydraulic, at this time. So in this episode, what I'm going to do for you guys is introduce you guys to the all-new Pure Juicer that is now available at DiscountJuicers.com and explain to you guys the benefits of this particular model over, you know, the whatever gold standard, if you want to call it that, the Norwalk Juicer. Now, many of you guys may have heard of the Norwalk Juicer, and it's written up on websites quite often as, you know, the Norwalk Juicer is the best juicer because it's a two-stage hydraulic press juicer, and that's the same as a Pure Juicer. But I want to caution you guys, right? Here's the thing, in my opinion. In my opinion, you know, the Norwalk or two-stage juicer, hydraulic press juicer, like the Pure Juicer, is designed in the 1930s. So this is really old technology. Now, you know, cars were designed in the early 1900s. And they're still around today, but they've improved a lot. And I'm glad to say that the Pure Juicer actually has the most refinements and most technological advances and improvements since that time compared to other two-stage hydraulic juicers on the market, such as the Norwalk Juicer. Now, that being said, with every different juicing style, there are pros and cons. And I'm here to educate you guys on to which style may best meet your needs. You know, one of the cons to these style machines is that actually they're quite spendy. You know, you could buy a handful of, you know, less inexpensive machines for the cost of one of these machines. And in many cases, actually, this will get a higher yield, but not in all cases. So when the original hydraulic press two-stage machine came out, they did some testing. And they used a champion juicer, a high-speed centrifugal ejection juicer, and a hydraulic press juicer, and compared the yields and also some of the nutrients that came out of the machines. And they found that the two-stage hydraulic press juicer made more yield. And this is, you know, not necessarily too hard to do when you're using a centrifugal ejection or a true masticating juicer such as the champion juicer. So there are new technologies now available in juicers that weren't available in the 1930s that have come out since then, like the twin gear juicing style machines such as the Green Star Elite. And the company has documentation showing that comparing their machine to like a two-stage hydraulic press juicer, you know, they don't always win in yield, but what they do excel in is the nutrients, you know, produced. Now, every juicer, depending on what you're juicing, will produce more or less yield. But you know, for me, it's more about not just like the vitamins that are in the juice or the minerals that are in the juice, which are definitely important nutrients to us, or many people really focus on the enzymes. Man, it's all about the temperature of the juice, and you got to have a raw, cold-pressed juice or it's worthless. Well, while I agree that enzymes are quite important, as I go on in my years and getting wiser and wiser, I have been on a plant-based raw diet now for the last 20 years. This starts my 21st year of being into this. I'm learning that enzymes are, you know, food-based enzymes are not as important as once thought. Now, yes, they are important, but what's even more important to me are the phytochemicals and phytonutrients. And so, you know, for me personally, my juicing style, I want to ensure the highest quantity of these phytochemicals and phytonutrients. And based on my observation and research, I have seen basically the higher the speed and the more oxidation that occurs to the produce when it's being juiced, the lower these phytochemicals. And it's these very phytochemicals that are the most disease preventative, you know, when people are fighting certain diseases such as cancer and all these other things out there, right? So that's what's really important to me. Now, I will, in the future, be having videos comparing the Pure Juice Press against other style of slow running cold press juicers on the market. So be sure to click that subscribe button right down below for that. But in this episode, let's just get right into the Pure Juicer and how it actually is going to put Norwalk out of business, in my opinion. So I guess first off, this is a 2-stage hydraulic press juicer. What does that mean for those of you guys that have no clue what this is? This basically means you take a carrot, an apple, whatever you're going to put in there, and you're going to run it through this side first, which is a grinder. It grinds and shreds everything up, makes it into a nice fine mush, and then you take that mush, you wrap it in these press cloths, you put it in this side, you press the lever, and a hydraulic press comes up with 5,000 psi, which is the most powerful pressing unit on the market for a home use that I'm aware of, and literally squeezes the bejeezies out of the pulp that you created in stage 1 and presses that out into your juice. And that's basically how this operates, you know. And let's go over some of the refinements that make this a better press than, you know, the major competitor on the market, the Norwalk. So I mean, basically how this was designed was that, you know, the designer of this actually used the Norwalk and actually was repairing Norwalks for many years, and he saw how Norwalk juicer had many things that could be improved on, and he'd contact Norwalk and say, hey, maybe you guys should do this, and make it better. And that's what I'm striving to do in my life, whether that's with my relationship, whether that's with my diet, whether that's with my gardening. So I could really appreciate this. And he actually comes from a background of being a designer, designing outdoor sporting equipment and clothes and whatnot, and making it more user-friendly and better, you know. And I'm all for that in life, in any aspect. I always want products to improve, so I'm actually glad he came out with this machine. So after repairing a number of Norwalks, he sat down and made a list of all the problems with the Norwalk. And he's like, how can I make this better? And so he sat down and actually put it all together. This machine is designed in the good old USA. And he made this happen. And he went through many prototypes and went through even like 10 different cutters to basically fine-tune and find the best cutter. Because, you know, it's sad to me that many American companies, old school companies, you know, like such as Champion, Norwalk, and even many American car companies have like the good old boys in there. And they just want to keep the thing the same. This is how we've done it forever. This is how we're going to continue to do it until we put ourselves out of business. And a matter of fact, the U.S. car companies almost did put themselves out of business until the U.S. government stepped in, which I personally don't think should have happened. You know, as much as I like American car companies, there need to be new car companies like Tesla Motors, which is another great American car company, but they're doing things differently because they are actually improving and even have self-driving cars these days, which no other company has, and they're really advancing the technology in the automotive or car industry, and that's what literally Pure is doing with the 2-stage hydraulic press style machine. They basically just made it better and all around. So I mean, let's go over some of the main improvements here. So I mean, the number one problem that I have with the Norwalk, and I actually own 2 of them, is that when you put things in, it basically shoots out the top of the machine and can hit your ceiling if you don't continue to put the plunger in. That's not fun to do. I mean, I could go over to somebody's house and I could look on the ceiling and see if I see spots. I'm like, oh, you have a Norwalk juicer, huh? And that's happened where I've seen places and go over to people's house where I see stuff on the ceiling. It's kind of funny. But, you know, that could be easily solved by what they did with the Pure Juicer. They literally just offset the chute. I mean, why couldn't Norwalk get this right, man? It's not difficult. And they've also, you know, of course, in here, made it a lot more user-friendly to use. So actually, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the benefits. Of course, they have a nice solid plastic pusher. This is a BPA free. They do have an optional wood pusher for those of you guys that don't want any plastic contact with your food. This whole machine is all stainless steel, all contact points with your food, except of course for the nylon press cloths that you wrap your food in. I do hope that the manufacturer will come out with some hemp or cotton press cloths, which will have some limitations because they cannot put up with the PSI of the pressure that's being exerted on them, and they may actually bust holes and spray your produce across a room, which has actually happened to me before. Or even a better thing to do potentially would be to use some, you know, a stainless steel, you know, mesh, and use that to press out the produce once it's actually been grated on up. But yeah, oh, the other, so, I mean, improvements, I mean, we'll get to these guys later. I can just sit here probably for an hour and go over all the improvements. I'm going to try to do the best I can to keep this video short for you guys. But the number one thing is, you know, this is the age of technology and innovation. I mean, every year a new iPhone comes out, and everybody always wants the latest and greatest. Well, this is the latest and greatest two-stage hydraulic press. I mean, one of the issues with the Norwalk is that it actually had thumb screws. And that was a pain. You might lose one. You got to always tighten them up, and you got to make sure they're tight enough and not too loose, or you could cause damage to the machine. With this, basically, you just press this little lever, and you just turn this, and it comes right off. So that's really cool, really simple. Also, another challenge with the Norwalk is that the screen could get stuck in. They have a nice handle on here, so you could pull out the screen tray. They also have 8 different size screens here, from 4mm to 10mm. They just fit right in to the screen tray there, and then you could just basically slide this back in. Really simple, real easy, and just slides right out. So I like that a lot. Each one of the screens is meant for different purposes. So for example, they're 4mm to 10mm, and 4mm to 6mm are for like grinding up carrots for juicing, and then you're going to want to use the larger 7 to 10mm grates for greens, and of course even the smaller ones can be used to grind up coffee and grains. You know, you can make some amazing frozen fruit sorbets with this machine with the smaller grates. It really gets the nicest consistency of any juicer I've used, because this really runs at a fast speed, has actually a fast blade that runs with nice sharp teeth that'll actually also aerate the banana ice cream, make it nice and really fluffy. So I mean, by far this does that the best. But yeah, so the other thing is, if the housing is getting warm when you're grinding your produce up, go to a larger size. That means you're using a too small a grate, and it's just getting too much friction in there. And that's one of the challenges, frankly, with this machine, is that, you know, when you are grinding things up, I do recommend you guys start with cold produce right out of the fridge, and you know, just put it in and jam it through there as fast as you can. Don't let it hang up in there, because that'll create excess friction, which will cause excess heat. And that, in my opinion, is probably one of the ways that a juice you make in this style machine can be damaged due to the high speed friction and heat, you know, due to this blade. Anyways, taking this housing, we have a stainless steel funnel on the top. As I said, this is an offset piece. Inside here, it's machined very nicely. It's really nice and smooth to ensure you know, all the pulp goes out the bottom. And then the other thing is that this bottom piece, it's actually flared. So this is something not found on the Norwalk. The Norwalk just has the same size chute. So this flared chute is kind of like when you're talking out one of those megaphones and your voice carries better. The pulp will just come out of this chute better. So I like that a lot. Next, I want to go ahead and talk about this blade assembly here. Let's go ahead and take this off. The number one thing I want to talk about this blade assembly is that they went through 10 different prototypes to come up with this using, you know, computer assisted modeling and all this stuff. And then they put this blade together. So this blade, number one, has a special stainless steel that's a hardened stainless steel that's harder than other machines of this type. So it's going to keep its edge longer and does not require sharpening as often. The other thing is that it actually has 8 cutting blades. So this does more cutting and less, you know, friction in there, because it's actually cutting and ejecting the stuff as fast as it comes in. So I like that a lot, and it's actually nice and heavy duty. All the parts in the Pure Juicer are dishwasher safe, so I like that a lot too also. Next here, what we got a built-in safety switch, so this will not allow the machine to come on unless it's fully assembled. Also, there's an O-ring, and this O-ring is user removable, and the machine does come with extra O-rings. You know, if you do get any kind of leakage, it's probably time to replace your O-ring. Next, I want to show you guys how easy this is to assemble. We're going to go ahead and take the cutter blade, line the 2 flat ends up with the flat ends on the motor shaft, and slide that right in. Next, we're going to go ahead and take the main housing, and there's a line on the housing. You're going to line it up with the in and just slide this on like that. It goes in, and then you're going to slide it, and it's going to lock into place. Really simple, real easy. Of course, last we're going to go ahead and take the screen of our choice. I'm going to be doing carrots today, so I'm probably going to use like about a 6 millimeter. Let's see, that's probably about, we'll probably use this size right here. We'll slide that on the tray there. Really simple, real easy, and slides right into place. Next thing I want to talk about is actually this tray here. So this tray is an oversized tray. It's larger than the competitor model, so that means you're going to be able to fit more on here in the area of it. In addition, it actually has nice high sides, and it's actually sloped. A problem that I've seen with many presses out there is that, you know, the tray's not sloped enough and the juice kind of hangs out on here. So this is sloped. It also has nice gutters where the juice is going to come out. So yeah, all stainless steel once again. And aside from this tray, the press plate up top, that's all stainless steel, and as is this press plate, which is actually removable on this machine. As you guys can see, I easily am able to remove this. This is 100% stainless steel also, and also dishwasher safe. On other models, this is aluminum, which actually may corrode with the juice of citrus and whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and slide this back on there. Oh, before we actually slide this back on there, I want to talk to you guys about this. This is a stainless steel piece right here, and unlike the other model on the market, there's no nooks and crannies. So like one of the challenges that I've seen with Norwalks is that when you juice, you know, there's all these nooks and crannies that juice could get into the main body of the juicer, which is not good because, you know, juice and electronics, they don't mix. But with this machine, they designed it as such that there's no seams where the juice could actually get in. All the juice will roll off, so you could easily clean it right up. The other thing I'd like to say is that this machine, from the beginning, has been designed to be compliant with NSF standards for the health department or for commercial use. So, I mean, might as well talk about that now. For commercial use, this has a 2-year warranty, and for home use, this has a full 12-year warranty. So, I mean, that's an extremely long warranty. The Pure Juice Company is here to back up and stand behind their superbly designed machine. All right, so, next thing I want to talk about, actually just some few other features of the machine before we get into actually juicing, is when you put your bowl underneath here, they have actually a nice a rubber guard here that's going to prevent you from putting your bowl against the stainless steel and denting and nicking up your machine. So I like that a lot. In addition, this machine, as it comes wired, as we will be selling them at discountjuicers.com, comes wired for 110 volts. But by easily flipping a switch, you can easily switch that to 220 volts for use in other countries. In addition, they have a nice on and off switch right here. And the other thing is actually this comes with an IEC cable. So that's the same cable that your desktop computer may be using right now. So it's detachable instead of attached. That's really cool. And let's see, over on this side, you guys can't see it. Over on this side, there's a little lever here. This lever controls the plate, the press plate going up and down. And this can be run while you're grinding. So the optimal thing to do is you're going to be grinding produce. It's going to come out. You're going to go ahead and bag that stuff up, put it on your press plate, let that go up, and start pressing while you continue to grind. So this will save you some time. And now, unlike other machines that have a 10-second rule for when the press plate goes up, and you can only keep it up there for 10 seconds, the manufacturer says, this one you could just leave it up there infinitely. Now, I don't know if I'd leave it up there 24 hours, but I was pressing some berries the other day and extracted a really rich purple pigmented juice, and I left it running for like 2 solid minutes to get all the juice out. After a certain point, it's a point of no returns when you're really not going to get any juice out, so you probably wouldn't want to run it infinitely anyways. A better use would be to lower it, move around the things in the press cloth that may have gotten moved to the side, and then repress it and get more juice out of that stuff. So yeah, I mean, they've really thought about a lot of the design of this, and really took the 2-stage hydraulic press juicer to the next level. So yeah, let's go ahead and reassemble this machine, and we'll come back at you ready to juice 5 pounds of carrots. So now I want to show you guys how easy the Pure Juicer is to use. What I've got here is I got 5 pounds of washed and topped carrots ready to go through the Pure Juicer. Now, you know, many people that have a hydraulic 2-stage press juicer, because it is quite a chore to wash your produce, juice it all, and then clean up and all this stuff. Most people do juices in batches when they have this style machine. You know, in my opinion, it's always best to make the juice and drink it right then and there, and do not store your juices. That being said, if you do want to store your juices, you know, I definitely would recommend something like the 2-stage hydraulic press juicer or other cold press juicer to maximize the nutrition in the juice. One of the best ways that you'll be able to store your juices longer are by, number one, washing your carrots well and peeling them before juicing. It's some of the bacteria that occurs on the skin, you know, can reduce the life of the juices that you make. That being said, if you are peeling your carrots and other fruits and vegetables before juicing, you know, a lot of the nutrients and very important phytochemicals to me, and according to my research, are actually in or near the skin. So that's why I actually don't recommend, you know, doing that unless you really, and the only way you could drink juices is by actually making big batches and then storing them. The other thing you want to do besides doing this is you want to actually bottle up your juices and leave no air space in the top. And even better than that, it would be to do something like a vacuum seal with a food saver product, or even, you know, one of those wine savers. Use old wine bottles and with a little plunger, suck the air out of it to store your juices, all right? So that being said, I guess let's just go ahead and get started. And I'm going to go ahead and on purposely not use the pusher a few times to show you guys that, you know, stuff, you know, for the most part doesn't come out of the feature. Yeah, you're going to get a little bit of, you know, stuff coming up. I mean, this is a high-speed cutting blade, but it's not going to be like mounds of stuff shooting up on your ceiling. So before I get started, I want to share with you guys the collection bowls that I'm using, because they are not included with the Pure Juicer. What I'm using is basically an 8-cup or 2-quart collection or measuring cup by Anchor Hawking. Pyrex does make a similar one that you could also use, so that's what I would recommend. It fits in here really nice, has a nice wide body, so all the juice is going to drip right in there. And then I got this nice large bowl. So this is a Pyrex 4-liter bowl. It has actually a lid so you could save stuff in there. And it fits right underneath the spout with a nice large area. Now you could use anything to catch your juice or, you know, catch your pulp, but this is what I'm using because actually I like to use all glass in my household. So now I want to go ahead and turn the Pure Juicer on for you guys so you guys could hear how loud it is. We're going to go ahead and turn it on. And when the machine's on, the grinding blade is now running, so you could grind things up, and at the same time you could also do pressing. So the pressing apparatus is currently down. There's a hydraulic pump that's being run by the motor. We're going to turn the switch on over on this side if you look, and we can just flip that up. And as you can see, now the hydraulics is going up. Now the rise on this is actually faster than the competitor's model on the market. The other thing I would caution you against is letting it go all the way up without any juice in there. It may get stuck on you. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and cram through 5 pounds of carrots, get some press bags full, and make some carrot juice. So this is something you would not want to do on a Norwalk, like without the pusher here. Look at that, I put it in there, we're getting virtually no kickback here. Maybe I'll try to do all these carrots without using the pusher. This is something you would never ever do on a Norwalk. So we're using carrots to push in the other carrots. Maybe I'll go ahead and start using the pusher here. It's really easy to, you know, push that in there. And you're going to get some uprise on the pusher, that's normal, but you want to put it in there and just cram it all the way in. Got a tiny bit of kickback, and I like to also put the small end in first. 2 small carrots going right in. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and sit here and grind up the rest of my carrots, and you guys will be able to see this in fast-paced mode. Alright, so I'm down to the last carrot, and we're just going to go ahead and put that in there, press that in. Now, man, this is a little bit of a workout. I mean, you do have to push in a little bit to the blades to get it going. I do have a little bit of splatter up around the top a little bit. but this is nowhere near as what Norwalk would be doing, and I'm kind of lazy with using the pusher. So as you guys can see, we're going to go ahead and turn this machine off. And it looks like we got 5 pounds of carrot mush now. So the next thing we need to do is actually take our carrot pulp and we need to basically put them into pressed cloths. So hopefully one of these days Pure Juicers will come out with a little template that you could actually use to fill this guy up, because that's one of the most important things when using this style machine is to get your press cloth properly filled. You don't want to overfill it and you don't want to underfill it, right? That's going to make more work for you. So, you know, actually if you look at the pattern, it's like a tic-tac-toe pattern, you know, there on the press cloth as I get it. That's a pretty good template. You're going to want to fill in that center square, all the pulp. You're going to fold it over and then load it up onto the press and then turn the press on. So to make this a little bit easier, I would normally use a plate because this is actually quite drippy and juicy. But I've found something that works pretty well. It's like a earthbound salad mix, 5-ounce salad greens mix. We're going to go ahead and basically use this as a template because it's almost the right size to use to make a little pulp patty. So we're just going to go ahead and put that in there like so. And then we're just going to go ahead and take a bunch of pulp and line it in. So maybe like 1 handfuls, 2 handfuls, maybe like about 3 handfuls. Now that we've got the template, we got our pulp right in the center. We're going to go ahead and take this out for easy folding. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and fold this over once, twice, 3 times, and 4 times. And then once you have this nice pad here, you're going to go ahead and take this pad and put it with the press cloth side down. Next, we're going to go ahead and do the next one. Pretty much the same way. Line that up. Take like nice couple good 3 scoops. And I like to try to get the pulp evenly distributed, you know, in the press cloth. So with the Pure Juicer, you will get actually 6 of these press cloths, and they'll last from 6 to 12 months, depending on how you take care of them. When you're done using them, you're going to want to wash them. I hand wash mine. And then when they're dry, you're going to fold them actually into the squares, the same size, and store them in a Ziploc bag in your freezer. And that's the best way to store them. As you guys can see, I probably filled that second press cloth a little bit better. Now at the other competitor's product, you would stop at 2 press cloths because you can't put 3 in there. That's too much material because of the larger area on the press plate here, and also the area in between. You could actually fit a 3rd one, and because this is so powerful. And so the yields, actually, you're going to get, you know, you could get about 32 ounces in 1 press out of this machine. I don't know if I'll be getting that today because I'm not like sitting here and optimizing the amount of pulp I'm putting in, but we easily put more than half of the 5 pounds that I originally ground up here. So once again, once we got our template there, we're going to try to round this out a little bit and then fold this over again, and fold this over, and fold that over. Once we got that, we're going to go ahead and put it right there. Look at that. We're going to it's very important, you know, to center this up once you got it on there. And the next step is simply press. So let's go ahead and check this out. Turn it on. Hit that lever on the back side. And as you guys can see, the hydraulics is pushing out all the juice little by little. And as you guys see, I didn't have my pads full of produce properly aligned, so it dripped everywhere because I'm sitting at an angle and I couldn't see that I didn't have it over enough this way. Alright, so I got all that cleaned up. Let's go ahead and reposition the pads here. And yeah, you got to be very careful when positioning these, because if you don't position it properly, as you guys saw, it's going to leak. So you want them right in the middle, And I may have actually folded these a little bit too big, so you got to pay attention when using the hydraulic press. Want them right in the middle there. Now let's go ahead and press again. And if you see that happening, you could actually keep your hand on the lever here, so if it starts leaking, turn it off immediately instead of waiting. Alright, so now as you guys can see, it's pressing out, and there's the juice coming out, and it's actually coming right out the front how it should. So unlike other machines on the market, you could leave this running literally continuously. Like, you don't have to follow the 10-second rule as you do on the competitor's model. And as you guys can see, this has been running easily longer than 10 seconds, and it's still dripping juice. At a certain point, it's a point of no return, so I'm going to go ahead and lower this down, and then I could reposition the pulp or even fold the bags over and then repress, because some of the stuff on the edges here is just not getting pressed. So let's go ahead and lower this guy up. And let me show you guys what we got here after we take these packs out. Look at this. This is literally a sandwich of dry pulp. No other juicer literally makes the pulp this dry. That's totally amazing. Now I don't know if you guys can see that, but if you look really closely, like near the middle, it's pretty like light colored. That means it's gotten pressed very well. Around the outside, it's still a little bit dark. So what I like to do is I like to just basically fold this over upon itself and fold it over again. We'll put it right there in the middle, and I'll do that with each of these guys. Oh, they're right here. Once again, super dry. This is totally impressive. You could dehydrate these into patties for your pets. Fold that over 4 times. We're going to put it right there in the middle again. And same with this last pack here. And let's see if we can get some more juice out of this pack of pulp. Alright, I think we're set it up this time. I will not be making that mistake again. And normally you would be looking square on in the machine so you could actually judge to see where the pack is. You know, I've got a nice big blind spot here because I'm trying to do this from the side so that you guys can see what's going on. Alright, it's going up and up and up. 5,000 pounds of sheer pressing power, stronger than any other press on the market. As you guys can see, we're still getting some juice out, but it's not a lot. So if you got more time than money, you might want to do this, but if money is time to you, then you're probably just going to want to, you know, press some more carrot juice. I know a lot of you guys want the hydraulic 2-stage press style to get the most out of the produce, and that it will definitely do in many cases. Alright, so the cool thing is we can let that be pressing while we're actually loading up our next batch to be pressed here. We're going to go ahead and probably be able to do the rest in like just 2 packs. And I'm definitely going to be sure not to overload these and make nice small packs here. I think coming out with a template is probably very important. So we're going to make sure that's nice and squared up in the middle so we don't get any overages. Alright, so we got 1 pack done. Let's go ahead and let this guy down. Let me go ahead and show you guys this. Man, that's 1 dry pulp patty. Completely amazing. You could go ahead and throw it in here. So go ahead and put this guy in there. Make sure it's centered on up this time. Looks good. Last one. Fill up the rest of the 5 pounds of carrot pulp. Now, one of the benefits they say that is a really good thing about using a 2-step process is once you grind up what you're going to grind in juice, say you're juicing the Gerson therapy protocol, what they do primarily is carrots and apples. You know, once you process the carrots and apples, they're sitting around and hanging out, and the enzymes are commingling and potentially creating, as they do in cruciferous vegetables such as the broccoli, different compounds that you will now be able to extract out when you do make the juice. So there's an enzyme in the broccoli that basically breaks down some of the nutrients and turns it into powerful anti-cancer nutrients. And that happens in the grinding stage. That's why it's important to grind and then press. And maybe this intermingling of the produce is actually a very important step. So it looks like we've gotten pretty much all the pulp out of our bowl here. We're going to go ahead and take this guy and square this off really nicely. Make one small pack right in the middle. And it's definitely good to not be sloppy when you're making your press bags. You want them nice and tight. Very important. So you'll go ahead and put this guy in there. Maybe since this is bigger, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the bottom. And put the smaller one on top. Looks like we're nice and centered up in there. Now we're going to press. So check this out. Alright, all the juice, we got a nice big flow with a nice large sides. Don't put your fingers in the area of being pressed. I do recommend this machine for adults. This is not a machine that you probably want kids to be playing with. And we're just going to let it sit there and juice. And while it's juicing, I want to share a few more features about the Pure Juicer with you. I mean, as you guys can see, this is running. You know, we can leave it sitting there for a minute and the machine is running, and how the hydraulic pump is being pressed is with a belt. And on other machines you get belt slippage. You know, belt slippage should be a thing of the past. I mean, I remember my old 1969 Pontiac Firebird had belt slippage, but juicers in this, but cars of this day and age, the belts don't slip. They got serpentine belts now. You know, there's new technologies and other companies haven't improved their machine. Whereas this machine, you know, we're not getting any belt slippage. The other thing that's really cool is that this is going to produce a higher yield and a more nutritious yield, in my opinion, because there's less actually heat occurring, you know, in the grinding stage. Next, let's go ahead and let this guy down, turn it off, and show you guys the pulp we generated here. I mean, this stuff is super dry. It's totally amazing. If you guys are looking for a two-stage hydraulic press, I mean, this is the one you guys should get, not the competitor's product that actually even costs more. This is well-designed, stainless steel, works well, provided you line up your press packs properly, and you don't get the waterfall flow off the side like I did. I can't really tell you the yield in here today because looks like we got about 6 cups of juice, which is actually quite impressive for 5 pounds of even weighed out carrots, because other juicers that I've used, like you know, centrifugals, you know, even the slow juicers, the augers, the twin gears, don't get 6 cups of juice out of 5 pounds of carrots. In general, I like to say 1 pound of carrot equals 1 cup of juice. This is 6 cups from 5 pounds, plus we had a whole bunch of spill on the table. So I'm wondering if I would have even got 6.5 or 7 cups total. And if I really want to go ahead and double press again all this pulp, I would get a couple more drips out, but I'm simply just not gonna waste my time. What I do want to do next is actually drink some of the juice and talk to you more about the Pure Juicer and how it works. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and pour some of this juice out for myself, and as you guys can see, we have a really nice fine consistency there. I mean, this is the purest juice that you will get. It filters it to a nice consistency. They have specially designed and specially sized filter cloths here. And the filter cloth, to me, coming from, you know, mostly using centrifugal, masticating, and other slow juicers, you know, this is a pro and a con. I mean, the pro is that it gives you the finest quality juice with no fiber. I tell you, man, there's nothing like a cold pressed juice. There's no fiber in there, and this really makes the mouth feel, the mouth texture, much more agreeable to some people. Some people really don't like pulp, and when you get even small grits of pulp like many juicers leave in, it's not quite as enjoyable. But this, to me, I mean, I like to compare drinking a nice carrot juice to like a nice glass of milk when I was a kid. Now, I don't necessarily recommend drinking milk. It's not healthy for you. Can't promote cancer growth even. But the juice, it just reminds me of that texture and a full-bodied richness with, especially the provitamin A, the beta-carotene in there. And actually, there's been research studies lately that shows, carrots are anti-cancerous. And I encourage you guys to juice, instead of the standard orange carrots, get the purple carrots whenever you can. They have actually even higher amounts of the phytochemicals. Man, I gotta drink another sip of this. Now, as I said, the press cloths are a pro and a con. They don't let the fiber through. That's all the fiber we're seeing here. But there are, recent studies that came out that there's some nutrients still attached to the fiber. So it may behoove you to get a juicer that actually does leave some fiber in the juice. That might be a good thing. In addition, one of the problems I see is that because the mesh on here is so fine, it only lets the liquid through. Only the things that are water soluble, only the nutrients that are water soluble go in to the juice that's being created here. So if there's larger particles, different phytochemicals and phytonutrients, they may be staying with the pulp and with the fiber that you may be then composting, hopefully, in your garden and returning it to the microbes so that they could feed, and you could make it into some compost and add that to your garden to grow even more food, right? So that's the main challenge I have with the press here. Hopefully they expanded, maybe get a stainless steel mesh that has larger holes. Hopefully it'll work well, and then that'll actually keep more nutrition in the juice. And there's currently no studies out there, comparing juice made with a juicing cloth and a press versus the slow juicer, because we're still really learning about all this technology. I mean, juicers to me are just simply a tool. There's no way in hell, that I would be able to sit here and eat 5 pounds of carrots, but I'm easily going to be able to dust off and enjoy, sit down, all 6 cups of carrot juice to get the nutrition out of the carrots. I mean, the only way that I would eat 5 pounds of carrots is when you put a gun to my head and said, we're going to shoot you unless you eat 5 pounds of carrots. I don't know if my stomach's even that big, so I haven't even tried that before. But carrot juice really, and the juicers, really allow you to maximize the amount of fruits and vegetables. And in my opinion, these are the most simply, healing foods on the planet. And, if you have a disease, many people have bought juicers from me to go on the Gerson therapy. I would encourage you guys to look that up. And the Norwalk Juicer is a machine specified for the Gerson therapy. So likewise, I would say get the Pure Juicer if that's what's really important to you. That being said, you will also want to check my other episodes where I will be comparing in the future the Pure Juicer compared to the twin gear and the single auger style machines to show you guys some of the pros and cons, because with every juicer there's pros and cons. The pros to this is that it's going to extract a really rich pure juice, probably some of the highest yields for things like hard vegetables, for like carrots and beets. This thing is going to rule the world in yield. And even for fruits, this is probably the best juicer that's going to make the cleanest, clear juice and leave the driest pulp. Fruits are actually something that can be very difficult to juice, especially something like soft, mushy apples. This thing will have no problem with soft, mushy apples, where other style juicers really choke and cough. And some of them will even make applesauce out of apples. So, the yields are really good. One of the cons, of course, is the price. This will definitely set you back a pretty penny. One of the pros, once again, is it's all stainless steel except for the press cloths at this time. And hopefully they come out with some other press cloth alternatives for you guys. So in summary, I'd like to say that the Pure Juicer is my choice for a 2-stage hydraulic press juicer. I'm still not 100% convinced that it's the best style of juicer on the market, like many people claim, and many websites even claim that the press juices are the best. And I believe, yes, it's definitely one of the best. But in my opinion, the slow juicers, depending on which one you get, the quality may be up there, and in some cases even exceed it. I mean, the main reason for this is because if we look at the color of the juice, for me, this carrot juice is a little bit more ruddier and not quite as vibrant. So what that means to me is that there's a little bit more oxidation that has occurred in this juice, and for optimal benefit, we want the nicest, brightest colors with minimal oxidation, and this may occur in other style machines, but you know, there's a lot of research still yet to be done. But anyways, if you want to get a Norwalk, don't get the Norwalk, get the Pure Juicer. So the last thing I'd like to say about the Pure Juicer is that this is my pick for a 2-stage hydraulic press juicer. I mean, basically the only games in the town are the Norwalk and this blows away the Norwalk. As to comparing this to the other machines, you know, this thing definitely beats the pants off of any true masticating juicer, such as the Champion, which is the only true masticating juicer, or centrifugal juicer in both nutrition and quantity. And in many instances, this will actually beat even slow juicers in quantity, but not all, in my opinion, which I'll be testing in a little bit. So be sure to click that subscribe button down below to get those videos. Now, talking about nutrition, you know, there is data, once again, that I had mentioned earlier, to suggest that other style machines may extract more nutrients out of the produce than a 2-stage hydraulic press juicer. And to me, this is clearly evidenced by the color of the juice. To me, this is not a nice, vibrant, colored carrot juice that I would get out of a slow juicer. It's a little more dark and ruddy. And what that means to me is that means some oxidation has occurred. This can easily be checked, you know, juicing apples, because apples, as soon as you cut them open, they start to brown, unless you got GMO apples, which are now designed not to brown. I don't recommend GMO apples or GMO any foods. But we don't want the oxidation occurring, because that breaks down some of the most important phytochemicals and phytonutrients, you know, in the fruits and vegetables that you are consuming. In any case, if you guys enjoyed this episode with the Pure Juicer and want me to do episodes comparing this to other style machines, hey, please give me a thumbs up to let me know. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you'll be notified of my new and upcoming episodes when I'm comparing the Pure Juicer to other style juicers and comparing all the different kinds of juicers to each other. And be sure to check my past episodes. I have over 400 episodes now, sharing with you guys all the different styles of juicers, testing them, and giving you guys my honest opinions based on my 21 years now of being on a plant-based raw foods diet and incorporating juices into my diet almost every day that I'm able. So once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors. Alright, this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and what we're going to do today is get to compare two juicers against each other, head to head, in this juice off spectacular. So the juicers that we have today are the Omega NC800, which is